Hey guys, in this video, you are going to see a full interview I did with Joel Details and his brother Sal. They started a mobile detailing business over 6 years ago now and are absolutely killing it. Unfortunately, on the recording of the Zoom call, I forgot to record it where you could see me also asking them the questions. So you're going to get a lot of FaceTime with them. Let's jump right into it. Now remember guys, as we get into the video, go below in the YouTube description box if you want to get my free 5-part video series called the Ceramic Coating Quick Start, where we teach you guys how to go from a beginner ceramic coater, maybe never touching a ceramic coating before, all the way to an expert and learning how to cash flow this part of your business. There's a link in the YouTube description box below. Free 5-part video series. Who doesn't love free stuff? Go below and grab that, and let's go ahead and jump into the video. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for joining the call. What I imagine is that if you're watching this video, you might already be familiar with these guys, but if you're not, will you guys introduce yourselves? Tell everybody your business and where you are right now. Like, where in the US are you?
All right. Yeah, we are. I'm Joel, and this is my brother Sal. We are Details, interior and exterior automotive detailing, and we are based out of Ripon, California, which is smack dab right in the middle of California. We started the
Right.
business in Oakland, and we have both relocated to Ripon here, and he lives maybe a couple miles away from me. And yeah, we cover the Central Valley as well as the Bay Area and surrounding areas.
Okay, and your business name is Details.
Details.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay, that's awesome. That's like the ultimate search engine optimization name.
Yeah.
It's like looking for
Oh
a
yeah.
detail.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Yeah. It's
I love that. Okay, so I actually just told Sal and Joel, I said, hey, let's not even talk before we start recording this because I'm gonna ask questions and I'll, that way I don't have any context. So I'm a blank slate right now and I don't have any context. You guys have a YouTube channel. Let's start with that. You both have a or you have a YouTube channel together. What is the name of your YouTube channel?
it is Joel Detailing.
Okay,
So my
awesome.
name is Detailing. Yeah.
Got it. Joel Detailing, Joel Detailing. Okay. And
Yep.
you put out content about just your day-to-day detailing, right?
Yeah. It would. The reason we started the channel was, when I first started detailing, I have operations background, so I'm very in thorough. I'm always looking for things to make the job more efficient, faster, a little bit more, a little bit less time consuming, and a little bit more on the end of quality, toward opposed to quantity. So with that and with coming up with all of these little tricks and tips is kind of what I'm known for now.
Got
Um,
it.
Throughout detailing, you find little shortcuts here and there. And my job is I want to make them as transparent as possible for all of these detailers starting out, because I feel when you're starting out, you're doing things the hardest possible way. We've all,
Totally.
extracting when we don't need to, paint correcting when it's not necessary, when you're using the wrong tools for or maybe the wrong approach or the wrong method. So I said, you know what? There's really nobody out there that's just being cut and clear. Like, hey, I get it. I'm there with you. Let's show you on site. I think one of my most popular videos is me using acid, like during the day outside, in front of a client, where most people are just, I got so many comments, people like, no, what are you doing? Why would you put acid on a
It's
vehicle?
bad for the paint.
Yeah, so it's like
Yeah.
these things, and it's just like, no, as a mobile detailer, there's certain things you just have to do, like
Right.
the manufacturers always suggest don't polish in direct sunlight. But as a mobile detailer, how are we going to get paid if we're not polishing in the daylight?
Well,
So
you're
you have,
getting good exposure to the YouTube frenzy world where you read through the comments and all of a sudden you're like, what's with the self-deprecation, people? This is like, oh
oh
my
yeah,
gosh. That's good to know.
yeah,
Okay.
it's fun. It's fun because we go back and forth at to one another. So some roasting him or they'll roast me. So like as we're working throughout the day, it's entertainment to us, But
Yeah, totally.
and then also, we're touching a lot of people. We're really helping a lot. Today, I went to my local supplier and I ran into somebody who's always commenting, always, saying super nice things. And he saw me face to face and he's like, Joel, he's like,
Right.
so much, man. He's like, you're saving me so much time. I'm just beginning. And it's just, it feels great, just to be able to help people, because that was the reason I
Totally.
started. You know what? It's my turn to give back, because, all of these things, there's no use of me having all of this knowledge and not sharing it with anybody but my clients, because I'm telling,
Totally.
you know, every time I finish up a detail, we go through, let our clients know, exactly. We're very transparent with everything we do. But as far as people watching us, we want to make sure that they're we're educating people, and we're
Right. See,
doing
this is as
our part
live
to
as
kind
it
of keep.
gets. You've got clients
Yeah.
calling you as we're
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Crazy. This thing doesn't stop.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're a mobile
Okay.
detailer just getting started, just know it's not going to stop.
Especially in the beginning stages. So let me ask you this, because I don't really know your history, but I want to. So will you give everybody the high order bit of when you started detailing, when both of you started detailing, or maybe it wasn't at the same time, but when did you start, and what was that like? Like, really what I want to know is, how did you get your first clients when you were starting out? Like, what was the strategy?
So I quit my job. I used to be in operations for a long time. I started with, so first off, Sal went into the military after high school. I went to college. So I was in the Bay Area. He was down in San Diego, and I was in Oakland. So I worked for Guess Jeans. I did a lot of visuals. I went to art school, so obviously the transition from the art world into retail. I did a lot of the lighting, a lot of the colorways, compositions, things like that for the visual ends of the retail stores. And after that, I went into, it got kind of a little boring for me. So I wanted to do something with a little bit more purpose. So I got into medical. I got into medical operations. Did that for about 3 years. With medical operations, it was a difficult transition for me, because I got into the field to help people, but I was working for a for-profit, medical company, and you know how that
Sure.
works. So unfortunately, I said I have to depart here, and I really have to find myself and find something that I really enjoy doing, find something that's a little bit more fulfilling for myself. And with all this experience, at that point I had already had about 15 years of operations experience. So it's like I can pretty much do whatever I want. And
Right.
my first jobs were in restaurants. So running restaurants, then going to retail, then going to medical. It's a pretty wide array of a
Yeah.
skill set. So I said, you know what? I can translate this to anything I want to do. So I was looking for something that had low startup costs, low overhead monthly. Something that I didn't have to really tie myself down to, something I can make my own schedule, and something I can really sink my teeth into, and research further and kind of grow with. So at the time, I had purchased a black Audi, and if you ever owned a black vehicle, you become obsessive about the way it looks, about how dirty it is. You start realizing what swirl marks are. So all of these things sent me down a rabbit hole, and I ended up finding detailing. Long story short, and I just fell in love, and I just started watching videos. My dad grew up with custom cars, so I kind of knew the basics of car care, but I didn't really know in depth. I didn't know a difference between a polish and a wax and a compound. So
Sure.
through YouTube and through my local distributors, I went and I just asked questions wherever I could go. And I really just started to, I have a personality when I jump into something, I just really get obsessive, and it's just like full force. Like there's no stopping me. So I was already at that point, and Sal at this point had already been out of the military, started a family, working a government job, and kind of settling down. Today was actually his last day at that job. He's joining me full time. So he hasn't been doing this for a long time.
What? Wow,
Yeah. So
congratulations.
cheers. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
here,
we're
here.
yeah, so this was we're talking about 5 years ago for me when I first started this. And so I'm on my sixth year now, but at the beginning, I really took it serious. I didn't take it as a hobby. I didn't take it as, I did it with the intention of building a business out of this
Sure.
because it was love to do, and I already had the business acumen behind me. So with all of that kind of in front of me, I said, okay, now it's time to go and just, so I quit everything, jumped into detailing, and I my first clients were just family members here and there, and I'm using just like household degreasers, and I don't really know what to use, so I'm just doing my dad's car here, my mom's car there, whoever's car. And my one of my first paying clients was my friend Phil. He had an older BMW, and he was moving back to New York, but he was keeping his car in Oakland. And he was like, "Okay, I need you to clean my car," because he had come home for a few months, and he was like, "I need this car clean while I'm here." And it was a convertible, so it was all messed up. So I really just got down and dirty, and did the best I could, and that was my first paying client. And from that point, I don't think I was getting paid for about a year because I really wanted to do it right. I didn't want to go in, and I had seen and heard about a lot of these guys going in and doing $20 details, $40, and I had already known what type of work and how much time I was putting into just my own car. So I was like, there's no way I can do this for that amount of money. And when I put everything on the line, I can't afford to waste time doing a $20 detail. Um, so what I did was I really, really got my skill set and my customer service just really just dialed in. So with that, as soon as I like started, I got uniforms, I got business cards, I got everything. And I was mobile working out of my little Subaru Baja. If you ever seen one of those, it's like half car, half little truck.
Uh-huh.
But I had my generator and everything, but I made sure that I looked professional. I had um, my tablecloth, my table, so I had everything hidden behind there. So when people are driving by and they're seeing me working, it doesn't look like I have stuff scattered everywhere. I don't have buckets and cords everywhere. So
Hmm.
everything had a professional presence. I wanted to make that apparent from the get go, so the client knew that they were getting quality, from the start, even if it was my first, second, 10th or 15th detail. Like I never wanted them to know, and that
Sure.
because that's always the part. You always have that inferiority complex where you're just like, oh, I'm not good enough, or they're judging me, or I got to use their water, I got to use it. So I learned how to just approach everything the right way, just letting them know, communicating. Oh, by the way, we will need access to a water line and an extension cord. We'll bring our extension cords, but we just need an outlet, this and that. And if you present anything well, it's never going to be, contested. It's never going to
So
be.
this is actually a good point. So you, in the beginning stages, at least, used customer electric and customer water. And what it sounds like you're saying is you have this mental roadblock with stuff like that, but in reality, when you're actually presenting it in a way where you're the expert, you're the professional, this is just business as usual, that was never an issue.
No, no. If you're always in control, you're the professional. If you're always in control, you're presenting things as a professional, it's going to be very difficult for anybody to say, "Oh, wait, but you have to use my water." It's like, yes, you look at other, like, okay, say somebody come in and to clean your house, they're going to use a vacuum, they're going to use your electric. A roofer is going to come in, they're probably going to use some, water or
Right,
at some point in the job, like
right.
tradesmen, that's what you do. And sometimes that's what you have to do. So you don't always have to be 100% self-sufficient to get started, but you need to present it in the right way, especially if you
Right.
compensation for,
Right. Okay, let me ask you this. What was happening where the momentum started to build? Like what, so you were detailing Bill's car and that was your first paying client. Then over those next period of time, what brought in the, okay, I'm doing this full time?
okay, so it was kind of weird because I picked up a part-time job, and I was stocking groceries in the evening, and I was working for a vegan ice cream manufacturer also in the morning time. So I had the middle of the day and I had the weekends. But this was the first time in my life where I had control of my schedule. Like I told both employers, look, I only want to work 3 hours at this job for this day, and I only want to work 4 hours this day. So that in itself freed me up to do whatever I wanted. And I was like, okay, now I'm in control of making money the rest of the day and over the weekend. So at that point, I started to, get into social media a little bit more, started to, really, I didn't make any flyers. I didn't go door to door. I just really told everybody, like just anybody I talked to, it was always about detailing. It was about vehicles. It was, just wherever I was with somebody mentioned a vehicle, I was jumping in the conversation, and handing out a card, and that was another thing. My branding is extremely heavy. Like we make sure everything with our brand is brand appropriate. I will not put we were trying to make business cards this week and Sal tried to outsource them from somewhere else. And like I told him, I said, just let me handle it, because I've had so many issues because I'm so particular with everything and everything has to be a certain way. So our branding has become like a real kind of like a presence on its own, and that was all, I worked for Guess Jeans. They're one of the biggest brands in the world. Everybody, it's an iconic brand. So if I work visuals for Guess Jeans, and shame on me for not using that philosophy. So that was one thing that we really did was we branded ourselves really heavily. And even before people saw the work, they would see the brand and the name. The name
Right.
is a lot. It's pretty bold.
Right.
So
So do you have an online presence now in terms of like website, social media? Obviously, we talked about the YouTube channel, but website, social media, what does that look like now?
Yeah, so website looks great. Or actually, website's just so actually. My Instagram has been big for a while. I have around 4,000 followers, so it's been fairly pretty decent for our business. But it's strange because we don't get a lot of business from social media. We get most of I would say 90% of our business is referral based, and
Yeah,
that's where we keep it. As we all know, that's like the cream of the crop.
sure.
That's really where you want your clientele coming from. I tried to do things at the beginning. I ran some promotions here and there, through Instagram and Facebook, but it ended up for me, the opportunity cost of just the time being on the phone wasted,
Sure.
for a lead that doesn't go through. Like, it's like, okay, I could be doing work for free and getting more money from that free, opposed to spending
Sure.
something. And, so I found strategic ways of marketing without spending money, you can say. We
So
did
when
a lot
did
of,
go
oh,
go
God.
ahead, go ahead.
Oh, we did a lot of I still do. I do a lot of donations for like church fundraisers, high schools. We sponsor a lot of small athletics in our community. We do a lot of things like that. Like, there's a lot of community involvement. So I think that definitely takes us, gets our reach out really within the community like a lot
Right.
stronger.
Right. So when did Sal jump on board? What was that like? Why did you even want to do this?
Oh,
What was the appeal and when did all that happen?
I came a point in my career, in my government career, where I just felt stagnant. The growth, I felt that I stopped reaching. A lot of that comes from within, but needless to
Sure.
say, I felt that it was time for something new. I didn't know what. It was just time, and we were on the same page. He was working by himself. He didn't his seasonal employees, part-time employees. They were doing their thing, and it just happened to work out. He goes, "Hey man, I'm kind of need some help," type thing. Just if you're interested, and it just happened to be when I was at my low point. And I said, man, I'm way ahead of you. I was going to not even wait for you to ask. I was just going to show up and say, hey, let's do this. And after talking with the family and weighing out the pros and cons, it was
You
it
jumped in.
day. We always talked about his business, how to improve and all that. So I always felt like I was a part of it anyway, even when I wasn't working, because I come from with the management background as well. So I was always asking questions, trying to poke holes, and the timing couldn't be any better.
Right. Right. So how is it?
I hit my 20-year service last week, and
Wow.
time to go. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Thank
Yeah.
you. Wow. That's incredible. 20 years. Um, wow. Wow. So what is it like working with your brother? I mean, you guys are like family. I mean, literally.
Right. Yeah. It's awesome. We go out there and we work. I have the cheat code. I have this guy. So a lot of the guys that are out there that they got to learn everything on their own. And with him, I jump right into the meat and don't waste any time. So now I just got to work on the efficiencies.
Right.
I'm
Right.
constantly learning, but and every day it's learning something new, getting better. And the whole time we're talking about the business and how do we get better? How do we expand?
He has an
Right.
background. That's what he does. So this is just taking us to a whole nother dimension. So I'm
Totally.
excited. for this. I'm
So
excited.
how many clients will you guys see on a weekly basis on average?
Oh, on a weekly basis? Well, we operate 7 days a week. That doesn't mean we're working 7 days a week, but we do operate 7 days a week. I would probably say we're probably seeing anywhere between 2 to 3 vehicles a day.
Got it.
So it's yeah, and we're on the higher price point end.
Can I
Um,
ask what that is for your particular area?
yeah, so our starting details for say for SUV is 425 for
Oh, that's
just our.
incredible.
Yeah, yeah, and that's and our starting, like, we don't have packages. We don't do the package thing. I feel like the packages, they cause a lot of confusions. There's a lot
They
of
do.
there and a lot of gray area to
Yeah.
kind of
This is actually a good point to pause on because this is one of the we do a lot of online training, and this is one of the first things that we introduce anybody who's getting into the business is packages are non-existent. They ought not
Yeah,
exist. You ought not put them in your business. All they do is serve an ego. They do nothing for the customer. They turn people
no,
off. It's really confusing. And frankly, most
yeah,
detailers don't even know what their packages are. So
yeah.
anyway, keep going though. That was good.
Yeah, so we don't do any, and people in just like like I had gone over before, it's all in the approach. It's all in the presentation, so we don't come out and, people always text me, or they'll DM me, "Hey, Joel, how much for for such and such?" I do not come out and just say, "Oh, this is the price." Like, I let them know, and I know it takes me forever sometimes, but I will list out, you know, full detailing for a sedan includes, you know, deep
Totally.
vacuum, full this, and then I hit them with the price at the end, so they're understanding the service and what's coming. Now you're giving a reason for the pricing, opposed to, and I always tell people, like, hey, if I go to a restaurant and sit down and I say, I'll just have the steak, and they're like, that's $90. I'm like, whoa, okay, steak. If they say, oh, well, it's a dry aged beef with such and such, and it comes with 4 sides, and and a cocktail. Okay,
Right.
well, now it's a little bit different,
It
Now,
sounds to me like you've had at least like a few steaks in your life to be able to, pull out dry aged beef all of a sudden. I mean, just like
yeah,
that. Come
yeah.
on.
My brother, our other brother is a chef. He's a Michelin chef in New York. So yeah,
There you go. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So
Okay.
it's yeah, I've just been lucky to have been surrounded by a lot of motivated people, like in my family, that are willing to take risks and that are willing to do things. So it actually gave me a lot of support, and him onboarding, for me, that's like the biggest compliment as a business owner, for somebody to put their livelihood on the line and say, hey, I believe in you, and I want to. And the business, don't get me wrong, the business has been great for the past 4 years. Like, it's been nonstop. Like, I don't have a slow season. Like, it's as steady as a detailing business could be.
Right.
We started this with no debt, so we don't have any. Everything is bought up front. Everything's cash flowed, so we don't have any. My van is paid. Everything's paid off. Like, we don't have
Right.
it to. So it's basically you know, Uncle Sam gets his cut and then we get ours. And it's, you know, small operating expenses here and there. But we've learned how to control all of those, you know, like I've been
Right.
P&Ls and
Right.
inventory, all these companies for so long. It's kind of like, okay, I know how to control this stuff like the back of my hand.
Right.
So it's,
And Uncle
yeah.
Sam takes a pretty big cut where you guys live. But enough
Oh
of
yeah.
that.
Yes.
Oh, even, yeah. Let's not get there. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. So, okay, quick question. Do you guys do anything with ceramic coatings, or is it strictly interior exterior details and sort of
we
add-ons, things like that?
we do ceramic coatings, and this is another thing like on our YouTube channel where, you know, people will give us pushback. Oh, you can't do ceramic coatings in doors and this. Yes,
Right.
we've won awards, you know, for at, you know, at Good Guys, you know, like, you know, Magnificent Masterpiece Awards, you know, first place for best paint, you know, in national car shows on cars that we've coated outdoors, you know, like
Right.
corrected it outdoors. So a lot of it is just, you know, the technical part of it, the expertise and the training, you know, the technical ability of the actual detailer itself. But yes, a part of it. And then another part is, you know, a lot of these companies are now developing, you know, different chemistry in order for people to be able to do that. Like it's not, I tell people all the time, it's not 10 years ago where you need the infrared lights and you need all this, you know, you have to be in a super controlled temperature. Yes, that's great if you have that, but that's not the only way, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so without
Our channel does.
right. Without being too direct, because sometimes people don't like when I ask this question, I'm going to ask you guys about money, but I'm not going to ask it in a direct way. Okay, I'm going to ask it in an
Oh, that's
indirect
fine.
way, and you can say no, I'm not answering that question. But let's phrase it like this. How about this? Are $1,000 plus days commonplace at this point in your business?
They're pretty common. They're more common. They're more common than what people would think.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
this is one of those. I just remember thinking, particularly a few years ago, I remember thinking, hey, you kind of hit these levels in the detailing business, and you start here and you're like, wow, okay, I thought if I could get here then this would be crazy, but now I realize, oh, there's all this other potential, and oh, now I'm here, okay, wow,
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
oh, now I'm making $1,000 a day. I thought $1,000 a day was the Holy Grail, and now there's this. And so it's cool to hear
Yeah.
that, because as the business scales and you kind of step back and, like you're talking about, analyze the
Yeah.
business rather than just working in it all the time, this idea of scale. So let me ask you, for guys who are watching this, who are maybe starting in the business, or for guys who are making, $100, $200, $300 a day detailing, but they're trying to get to that next level, what kind of really simple piece of like detailing wisdom would you give to them?
I would really say concentrate on polishing yourself up. Like whether it be your vocabulary, whether it be your marketing, whether it be your branding, whether it be your customer service, really polish that stuff up, because there's certain types of people that you want to get that are really going to pay that amount for something. We're those people to begin with. So we understand, when we're looking for, we share the same gardener, we share the same guy that comes in and hauls our trash, because we know they're professional, we know they're reliable, we know that they're gonna conduct themselves as a professional, and they're gonna be here to do the job correctly every time. So we want to be those. He's getting his house remodeled and he's like pulling out his hair over here because he's like, these people will not call me back. Like, I can't get this guy to even show up when he says he's going to be here on time. The small things go so far nowadays. You just show up on time, send that reminder, follow up with your client, let them know, hey, if you just did a ceramic coating that was $1,500, let them know I'm here for support. If there's anything you need, if you find any high spots on the vehicle, let me know. I'll be, educate them before the fact. Don't let them
Totally.
come to you and say, oh, hey, I'm finding these smudges everywhere. Just let them know, hey, it's very common that these high spots appear. Let them know the cause of them, and let them know that it's a very easy fix. No big deal. Most people are going to be like,
Totally.
totally fine. There's a curing process there, but if you're not being a professional and holding up your end, don't expect to get that professional paycheck. That's
Sure.
plain and simple. you know?
Yeah, it's funny. It seems like detailers think that, oh, I ought to focus on my detailing, my detailing, my detailing. And when you realize over time when you're building an actual business, oh, me trying to become a better detailer actually isn't what I ought to be spending my time on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately or unfortunately, that comes with scaling a business. So it sounds like, why don't we shift the focus from the detailing to the communication, the posturing, the how do I talk to people? How do I market? What does it mean to market differently than this guy? Do you find that in your area, you deal with enough people like this to notice, I guess, how would I describe them? People who have been burned by other detailers who are like, man, I just want somebody who's going to do this right, who I can pay a reasonable amount and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we were actually, and I think it now it's a lot more pronounced in, you know, because there's, I think there's so many people trying to just say they're a detailer. I didn't even call
Right.
myself like in my mind. Yes, I was a detailer because you always have to be in your mind first before, you know. So it took me a long time to call myself. I still don't have professional auto detailing on because for me, that I it's one of those things where I shouldn't be the one calling myself a professional. My client should be calling me a professional. You know what I mean? Like they should be giving me that brand,
Sure.
not myself. Um, you know, the self-proclaimed, and that's just a personal thing. It has nothing to do with anybody
Sure.
in their brand. But for me, like I'm always in the mindset like I can do better. I should be doing better. Like I didn't feel like I made it until like this year. Like I still tell Sal, I was like, it feels like it's really. He's like, what are you talking about? Do you not see how much money you made like this past week? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm still not. It
Right.
takes a while because it doesn't feel real. And
Right.
I'm sure it.
Sure.
Um,
Totally.
and you want more. Like I want to be at a certain at a certain place, and I think we're really close to being there. And I feel really fortunate for all of my clients, but I do credit a lot of it just to the customer service end. And I tell a lot of these guys that are starting, we do consulting as well. And I tell a lot of these guys starting, the first thing that they do is they assume they have to go, and buy a fancy van. I'm like, no, start with a bucket, some brushes, and some all-purpose cleaner, and bring home a couple $100 in your pocket before you start
Right.
putting yourself into a hole. And then now you're going to have to start taking on any job to try to make ends meet and just try to stay
Right.
water. That's no way. Now you might as well be working somewhere else making $10 an hour because you're putting yourself in that position.
Sure.
You're not leveraging any growth for yourself.
It sounds like that one of the reason one of the reasons I ask you that question is because in the detailing world, because it's so low barrier of entry, and like you're saying, anybody can call themselves a detailer. Kind of like on Instagram, anybody can have the subtitle entrepreneur,
Yeah.
even if they make,
Or model.
$10,000 a year or model. Yeah. And you're like
Yeah.
self-proclaimed. Is that how it works?
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the benefits I've found to that kind of problem is there's all this competition. It's actually not that competitive. It's kind of a whole crowd of people who do things really poorly,
Kind of
and
makes
it
it easier.
makes it easier because people
Oh,
are
yeah.
so relieved by somebody who does it really well every single time. So it's nice to hear that. So give me some parting words for anybody watching this. Maybe they're a really experienced detailer, or maybe they're just starting out. What's some parting words from two guys who are doing this really well and you're doing it really successfully and you're continuing to grow? What kind of maybe general piece of wisdom could you throw out?
I would say for somebody who's been doing it for 6 years is to stay honest with yourself. It's really easy to get an ego. You do a good job here or there. You'll be humbled very quickly. You you'll come to a client who's going to, and there's last week we had to go back to a job that a client called us out on. And for me, that is, to me, that's it bothers me a bit, but I understand they're paying for quality, they're paying for, and we're human, we make mistakes, things happen. But I think if you stay honest with yourself, you're not putting yourself at a level that, that's unrealistic. Like you're really looking at yourself from an objective standpoint. It's not, just because people are saying you're good or they're paying this money for you doesn't mean that you're that you don't have to, you know, you don't have to give them the time of day, or you can charge whatever you want. You know, it's not about that. It's about really, you're not the boss. The client is the boss. Like, let's remember that. Let's be extremely real. You know, you are not the boss. Like, without these clients, you're not getting paid. Without your service, you're not getting paid. So I think if you're honest with yourself, there's going to be, you're going to leave a lot more room for yourself to grow, and you're going to be able to learn from your mistakes. You're not going to be, you know, you're not going to have this ego in your way, you know, getting you from where you want to be. And, you know, it's not going to stop you from any of your achievements. As far as Sal, I think he could probably give some advice for somebody just starting out, because he's going through it all.
Right.
I would tell the guys out there, just treat it as an interview anytime you go up. Be professional at all times. You go out there and you see people trying, they're trying, but they're just not hitting it. And if you just stick to those things, and you hear all these YouTube and Instagram, they all say the key words of what you do, but they don't go into depth on what to do on those things. I mean, just be presentable. Make sure you look good. Make sure you look professional. Yeah. Make sure you follow up. Make sure you ask the right questions. So that way you take out any type of questions that can come up, possibly as much as possible.
Totally. Well, guys, thank you both for giving me your time and for spitting all this fire, as they say.
Thank you.
I'm really grateful. And maybe next time you see me, I'll have a sleeve done like Joel, and I'll be rocking it. But guys, thank you so much.
We'll take care of that.
You're like,
thank you for having us.
Yes, okay? Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Listen, we will hopefully maybe shoot another video in the future, not too long from now. Maybe we can get more in the weeds of exactly what it looks like to talk to a customer and all that sort of stuff. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, guys, I will let you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that interview. Make sure to go below in the YouTube description box. You can check out their channel, as well as what I mentioned in the beginning, the free 5-part video series, the Ceramic Coating Quick Start, to teach you guys how to jump into ceramics today at no risk, basically no cost, and how to cash flow this particular technical skill that we're going to teach you guys how to do. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want more content like this in the detailing business world. And as always, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I'll see you guys in the next video.